阿弥陀佛，诸位法师、各位同修，大家晚间吉祥。祝愿此刻线上的您与您关心的所有有情众生身心安稳、平安无忧。欢迎您出席寺院在我家，道场在我心线上普门品共修会。一如既往，在诵念经文之前，我们会先诚邀善知识为大家分享佛法。如果大家还有一些印象的话，去年2024年大概6月份期间，就有一份关于我们国家的新闻报道登上热搜，在佛教团体里也广传了一阵子，那就是有关于考古中心的学者们在吉打州的一座山发现了比印尼婆罗波多甚至是柬埔寨昂沟瓦更悠久的佛教寺庙遗址，而且在遗址的地方呢，还发现了3尊的佛像，其中一尊呢，它就像真人大小的那个尺寸盘坐着的佛像。那当时的这篇报道相信让身为佛教徒的我们是又惊喜又感动的。但是之后仿佛就没有了下文所以今天我们十分的荣幸能够邀请到有参与这份考古工作的黄永仁博士为我们做关于这部分的解说。黄博士是我们国际佛教大学佛学系系主任兼教授，他原本是主修药剂学是一名合格的药剂师，但是因缘就巧合嘛，所以继续了深研佛法。今天晚上的分享主题呢，是内容主要是以英语为主我们配上了一些简单的文字翻译，所以也希望让大家能够欢喜的学习。阿弥陀佛 brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Our Dharma speaker for this evening, Dr. Ong Eng-jin, is currently the lecturer as well as the Dean of Faculty of Buddhist Studies in IBC. If you pay attention to our poster that is projecting on the screen, you can tell that Dr. Ong Eng-jin's biography is very impressive, right? Well, I'm also going to assure you that the topic that Dr. Ong is going to share with us tonight about the Buddhist epigraphy in ancient Kedah is even more interesting. Without further ado, let's put our palms together to invite Dr. Ong for the Dharma sharing. 我们一起静心合十，礼请黄永仁博士为我们分享佛法。
Thank you, Sister Wai-Ching. Namo Buddhaya. First, let me share with you my slides. Right, good evening. One more time. Today, well, thank you for coming, and today I would like to share with you the topic is Buddhist epigraphs in ancient Kedah. Now, in general, I will cover a few areas. First, we will put what ancient Kedah means and put it in context, and then I will go on to talk about the recent excavation in Bukit Choras in Kedah, as well as then after that I will follow up by sharing with you the 4 Sanskrit inscriptions they are discovered in Bujang Valley, all right? And how our ancient Buddhist community communicate with their regional peers as well as the wider region in Asia. As we know, Kedah, we are all familiar with Kedah. So Kedah is situated at the northeast part of Malaysia, Peninsular Malaysia. It is at the entrance of the Strait of Malacca. Not sure whether you can see my cursor, my mouse cursor. Yeah, you can see. So, Strait of Malacca. So, it is a very important trade route between India as well as in China. So, ships that bring goods to India as well as goods from India will want to go to China. They will have to pass through Peninsular Malaya. All right, either through the Strait of Malacca or by land route. So, it is kind of like Kedah is situated in the very active commercial zone or commercial maritime route. And between 2nd century CE, or Common Era, to the 14th century CE, this period generally we regard it as ancient Kedah. And why it is up to the 14th century? Because after 14th century, we have the Malacca Sultanate coming in. So before that, we have Kedah, right? Now, you can see here on this map that there are many polities, many sites that has been discovered, right? Along the west coast of the Malay Peninsula, where you can see trading sites, archaeological sites, as well as Buddhist sites, right? And you can see here Bujang Valley is the cluster in Bujang Valley in Kedah are one of the few polities in the west coast of Peninsular Malaysia. And not only through the shipping trade route, if there is also trans-peninsular routes. You can see here that Kedah is situated here, and there are the dotted line that you can see here. These are the trans-peninsular route. Basically, they will travel through the river first. For example, they will go through the Muda River, and then the river is getting smaller and smaller, and then they will use the land route to go over to the east sides of the peninsula. For example, in Petani and Songkla. Especially when they feel that it is not very safe to pass through the Strait of Malacca due to pirates or due to safety. Or they just use some of the not so heavy goods to pass through these trans-peninsular routes. So you can see here by this trans-peninsular route as well as the the sea route. So these are pretty busy trading sites of Kedah, right? Now, if you look at the geographical region, in early times, at the first millennium, basically before around 5th century CE, you look at the yellow line here. The yellow line here are the early coastal line, all right? So these are the early coastal line that make out of Kedah. Until sedimentation occurs in around 3rd to 13th century, this is where the shoreline that we have today. So you can see here the red dot here. These are all the archaeological sites that we find in Bujang Valleys. So because these are all seas. And then some of these are islands, right? So that's why they will say that Kataha Dwipa. So there are a lot of islands here. So Dwipa in Sanskrit means island, right? So if you look at the geographical setting, it is quite a, what they call, quite a bay that is protected. And also you can see here, I will show you Gunung Jerai as a place where to guide the ship. And there are sandy beach as well. So a protected zone from monsoon and also a sign that guide them through these sites, right? Sorry. So of course, all of us know that this is the Gunung Jerai. This is kind of like a landmark. So when the sailing ship sail through the Bay of Bengal, if they see these signs, there's a kind of like a reassurance for dogging and to upload their goods or download their goods, all right? And also a place where they can rest while the trading going on. Now, in terms of archaeological findings, as we know, in 1936 and 37, this archaeologist, Critchwell, I'm sure all of you heard about him. Critchwell has done an extensive excavation in Bujang Valley, right? So you can see here in this map in the between, this is the river, this is the Bujang River. So you can see here there are dots here. These are all the sites that he excavated. You can see he numbered the site by number 10, number 2, number 3. So you will hear site 2, site 3, site 10, right? Or even site 30. So but Bukit Choras is site 1 in a sense. So he published his findings in the Journal of the Malaysian branch of the Royal Aesthetic Society. So that's why we call this Bujang Valley, because a lot of sites are being discovered in the Bujang River. Not only Buddhist icons, epigraph, but we also see some Hindu structure as well. Now, so Kedah as a trading route in terms of commerce is quite well known, but the same can be said for China in terms of Buddhist transmission, right? In fact, textual and ritual practice. First account that all of us are quite familiar with is the account from Yi Qing. So around a monk from China who go to India for his pilgrimage. So along the way, he stopped by at Palembang here in Sri Vijaya. And then after a few years, before he go to India, he will sail to Kedah. He will stay in Kedah for a few months before waiting for the right wind before he sailed to India. Right? And then that's how we know about that. And also Kedah is also mentioned in other texts. For example, in this sub-commentary on the Garland of Birth stories, the Jataka Malatika. So it mentioned that in Suvarna Bhumi it literally means the land of gold. There are two ports, namely the Lanka Shoba and Kataha Dwipa. Now Kataha here means Kedah, right? Dwipa means island, as I explained to you. And the other one, Lanka Shoba, means perhaps Lanka Suka. Right? So another interesting thing is that there is a very highly philosophical text, basically a commentary to they call it a commentary to a very highly philosophical text called the Dubada Loka, which is composed around 10 to 11 centuries. So, and it is said to be composed in Kedah at the request of King Chudamani Warman, which according to the inscriptions in the Chola inscriptions, it is a lot of Kadara or lot of Kataha, which is the king of Kedah. All right. So this text, you can see here, this is the manuscript or Sanskrit manuscripts of these texts are now kept at what they call the Tibetan Museum in Lhasa. Right? So at this moment, we do not have access to these manuscripts, and it will be good to have access to this. Now, my point here is this: even though Yi Jing talk about when he was here, when he was here in Sri Vijaya, he spoke about the use of Sanskrit in this region, in Sri Vijaya regions. So Yi Jing basically praised, even advised monks who wants to go to India for their pilgrimage to stop by in Sri Vijaya to learn about Sanskrit first before they sail to India. And then, of course, it is also attested by the compositions of this text called the Dubada Loka in Sri Vijaya. So basically, the point is there are Sanskrit learning, Sanskrit scholarships in ancient Kedah. Now let's now move into the epigraphs, the inscriptions that are found in ancient Kedah. Now the four inscriptions I would like to share today is, the first one is Ye Dharma. They are found in several places in Bujang Valley. I will discuss them in detail. The second one is the Ajana Chiyate Karma verse. The third one is a Dharani, it's a mantra, all right, found in the cave in Perlis. And then the last one is the Sagaramati Paripricha inscriptions that last year we found it in Bukit Choras. Now these are the sites that mark where these inscriptions are found. You can see here on top here is Bukit Choras. The red color one is Sagaramati Paripricha, and the green color one is the Ye Dharma inscriptions. You can see they are distributed. Most of them are distributed below or on the south of Gunung Jeran, and only isolated case of Bukit Choras are found in the north of Gunung Jeran. And so currently how we define Bujang Valley, I mean the USM team define Bujang Valley as ranging from Bukit Choras down to Ceruk Tukun. So these areas are now, we call it Bujang Valley, not just in the sense that it's concentrated in the Bujang River only. So this area, generally, we will call them now Bujang Valley. Okay, let's focus on Bukit Choras a little bit. Today, you can see here, this is the Bukit Choras today. They are surrounded by Malay kampung. And then there are two mounds, two small hills. And currently, both hills are being what they call excavated. That's excavated. They are okay. How do I say? There are minings going on in these two hills, right? So they are eating into these hills. Okay, let's look into the Bukit Choras first. Now, the chronology of Bukit Choras excavation, it was first reported by James Lowe. So James Lowe is a colonel in Penang during the British times. So during his free time, he will go and do some archaeological work. So he first reported in 1849 that on top of this Bukit Choras, there is a temple. That's about it. He didn't say much about that. Then after almost a century later, British Wales comes, and then he followed James Lowe's descriptions, and then he started to excavate the site. All right, so which he designated as Site 1. And then from there, he found a few ceramics fragments, then some irons, some nails of ancient type, and then one inscriptions. Now, this inscription stone is called the Yedama inscription. So you can see here, it's kind of like a bar with 4 faces. Then out of the 4 faces, 3 faces has inscriptions. I'll come to that a bit later. And then after that, it was kind of like left it then. Not much major earthwork has been done, no much excavation. Not until recently, 2 years ago, whereby the team from USM actually started to excavate them again. So you can see here, this is year 2023, where they started to walk through the bushes. There's no track there. And then now, of course, they have built the staircase, walking up the hill and then go through the rubber plantations. And then this is the first view of Bukit Choras sites. Nothing much. Initially, they don't expect much. They say, okay, maybe just rubbles. And because one of the students wanted to study the architecture of old stupas, so they started to excavate it. And then we started to excavate that. And then what we found is a few things. You can see here, this is the Buddha statue. This is the northern side of Buddha statue. Basically, you can see here, this is the northern side of the stupa. So here you can see here, this is being excavated. Behind this land are not yet excavated. You can see here, they are covered under a very thick soil, right? So if you are standing on top there, you will not know below that there are a structure and the Buddha statues. So slowly we excavate, and then we started to see the Buddha statues appear. Right? You can see here the head has been fallen down. Now this is the excavation done after phase 2, right? So this is the southern side. The southern side, you can see here there is a recess, and then this is the projected stairways. So in this recess, you can see a Buddha statue made of stucco sitting there. And then this is the western side. Again, there is a recess and projected stairways. And then the Buddha statues are being placed there. However, these 2 sides, the head of the Buddha has been, we did not discover it, all right? And then from on top of that, you can see here that this is the stupa, all right? From this drone image. And then this is the January up to May this year. Last year, you can see here that we have the northern side has been excavated, and this is the Buddha statue, as you can see in the newspaper as well. The Buddha statue. So we have restored the head up just for photo taking. But however, today we have actually removed this statue back to USM already for restorations. Then this is the image on the west of the Buddhas. You can see here there's without head. Oh, sorry, this is the same picture. Right, so down there is also another Buddha statues. Beside that, we also found a tablets. A tablets is quite eroded in a way. Only one of below we can see here some kind of a stupa tablets being found. So there are 2 inscriptions we found. One is the Sagaramati inscriptions on the southern projected stairways, and the other one is on the northern side we found another Sagaramati Paripurna inscriptions. So in the center has a pit. So British will say that James Lowe dug it, or do not know, but we do not know who actually did it. That's why there's a pit there. So this is a more better picture for the northern Buddha. So they are made of stucco, northern recesses. So you can see here, this is the head of the Buddha image when it was first discovered, before it's dry up. And then there's a chance that we do a puja on site. After 1,300 years, we do a puja. So we will do a puja. So because this stupa is said to be around 7 to 8 centuries, right? So more recent excavation, like a few months ago, in April and May. So we started to excavate another structure. So you can see here, this is the southern side. This is on the southern side of the stupa. Opposite this, at the south of the southern side, there is another structure. You can see here, we have yet to excavate, and we started to excavate it. All right. So there's again appear another structure, but at this moment we only completed 20% of the excavation, and but we do not know what kind of structure is this. It could be another stupa, it could be just a platform, or it could be a vihara. All right. So, but on the last day of our excavation, luckily we also found another inscriptions, another Ye Dharma inscriptions. So this is the update up to now on the excavation in Bukit Joras. The next excavation will be next year, maybe in March or in June. Okay, back to our inscriptions. Let's look on the first inscriptions, the Ye Dharma inscriptions. So there are 4 Ye Dharma inscriptions found in Malaysia, in Bujang Valley. The first one is Bukit Mariam stone slab. However, the original stone slab has been lost, if you don't know. And then what we have is an eye copy by James Low. So you can see here the top part is the Ye Dharma inscription. And below here, you can see here, this is the inscriptions that we just discovered in May this year. All right, yes, we have not published it. This is an inscription discovered by British Wills, as told you earlier. And also in the cave in Perlis, there they found these tablets, made of clay. Behind the clay tablets, it is stamped with inscription. Right? The inscriptions again are the Ye Dharma inscriptions. Now, what is this Ye Dharma inscription? All right? Ye Dharma is a stanza or a gatha uttered by Asajit to Shariputra when the latter asked what is the essence of the Buddha's teachings, and the former replied. So basically, one day when Shariputra was not the Buddha disciple yet, he was walking in the village and he saw Asajit. So when he saw Asajit, who is one of the 5 disciples of the Buddha, the first 5 disciples of the Buddha, he saw him and said, "Oh, he is so serene, and he must have found the deathlessness." So Shariputra waited patiently for Asajit, and then once Asajit has finished his Pintabata, then he come and approach Asajit and asked him, "Hey, who is your teacher? You must be an enlightened person." So then Asajit said, "Oh, the Buddha is my teacher." Then he asked Asajit, "Can you tell me what the Buddha taught?" Then Asajit says, No, you have to go and listen to the Buddha yourself. All right? Then Sariputta persisted. I said, "Hey, please tell me what did the Buddha taught?" So then Asajit uttered this verse: the Ye Dharma Hetu Paravawa, Hetum Te Santadagato Aha. Ye Samcha Niroda, Evam Vadi Maha Sramano. Right? So everything which arise from a cause, their cause the Tathagata declares, as well as their cessation. All right? So immediately when Sariputta heard this, he got enlightened. All right? So he was so happy, and then he ran to his friend Mongalana. Right? Then his friend Mongalana saw Sariputta and said, "Hey, look, wow, you have changed. So you must have found the deathlessness. Tell me what have you found?" Then again Sariputta repeated this verse to Mongalana, and immediately Mongalana also get enlightened. So here, that's why this verse is a very powerful verse, and it became very popular. So in the Buddhist world, in terms of epigraphy, in terms of inscription, this is the most common inscriptions found in the Buddhist world. So you can see here, all is distributed. The red dot, I just arbitrarily put it, they are multi. You can see multiple copies of inscriptions written in different languages, different scripts all over the Ye Dharma. Now, what is the point I'm showing this here? Because what I'm showing here is that basically Kedah is also participating in this Ye Dharma, means we are part of this communication network of transmissions of Ye Dharma. The second inscriptions, oh, I don't have much time, sorry. The second inscription is the Ajana Chiyate karma. Basically, it says that through ignorance, karma is accumulated. Karma is the cause of rebirth. Through wisdom, karma is not accumulated. In the absence of karma, one is not reborn. Now, so you can see here, these verses are carved on the stone slabs found in Sungai Mas. And of course, we have this Buddha Gupta inscription as well as Bukit Mariam inscriptions. Right? At this moment, we cannot trace these inscriptions to a textual source yet. Right? And not only in Kedah, we have found this inscription, it was also found in Limbang in Sarawak, and also in the cemetery in Brunei, as well as some gold foil in Java. So you can see here, just to show you, in Limbang, since we are from Malaysia. So if from Limbang, you take a boat up the river, you come to a Malay cemetery. So you get out here, you will see a stupa. Right? A stupa below there, you can see the inscription here, the Ajana Chiyate inscriptions. So this is in Brunei Cemetery. Again, you can see here a stupa-like structure, and below the stupa-like structure, again, there's an inscription, the Ajana Chiyate karma. So not only that, it also found in Kalimantan, right? Kalimantan, where is it now? Here, the Kalimantan in Batu Pahat. Right? Batu Pahat, there is this huge boulder, right? Huge boulder, and you can see here in this boulder, there are stupas relief being carved on it. And one is Ye Dharma, the other one is Ajana Chiyate, alternate. Ye Dharma, Ajana Chiyate, Ye Dharma, Ajana Chiyate. All right. So, okay, now the third inscription, I'll quickly go through, is the Dharani. It's a mantra found in a cave in Perlis, right? So you can see here, this is a cave, the rock there, below it there's a cave. We found multiple copies of these inscriptions. So it has been discovered initially in the mid of 19th centuries and has been preserved in the British libraries in Singapore, Asian Civilization Museum. Again, you can see here there are 16 lines of Sanskrit inscriptions in Siddham Matrika scripts, right? So this is a dharani whereby if you sponsor this dharani, if you stamp this dharani and you inter into a stupa, whatever merits that you want to ask for will multiply by 100,000 times, right? I don't have to read through this. And then this dharani is not only found in Perlis, but it is also found in greater numbers in eastern India, all over to the Gandhara region, and has been transliterated into Chinese and in Chang'an, and has been transmitted to all over Asia. And one thing I wanted to share with you is that the stamping, you can see here, it was stamped. The stamping of the ritual of stamping on clay tablets and entering into a stupa, the kind of ritual practice actually swept across these Asian regions around the second half of the first millennium. And Kedah, because Perlis previously is part of Kedah, right? So Kedah is also part of the participants in this ritual practice. The third one is the Sagaramati Pariprecha inscriptions. Now, these Sagaramati Pariprecha inscriptions are found in 5 sites in Bujang Valley: Sungai Batu, Sungai Mas 2, Site 2, and 2 from Bukit Choras. And we expect to find more, right? Basically, the core message of these 3 verses are the first verse is related to non-substantiability, basically emptiness of swabhava, emptiness of dharma. The second verse is related to if one knows. The second verse is, to put it short, is non-duality. Non-duality. So if one knows that the samsara is equal to nirvana, then this non-duality exists, then your wisdom has reached to the peak, right? And then the third verse is talking about the power of the Buddha, right? The 4 confidence and the 18 attributes of the Buddha. So they are found in Bujang Valley. And the beauty about this is that these three verses come from a very long text called very long Mahayana text called the Sagaramati Pariprecha. And the Sanskrit version is the only surviving version which is found in Bujang Valley. So in the Buddhist practice, these 3 verses in Sanskrit has never been found outside Bujang Valley. So it's kind of like a unique features of Bujang Valley. So talking about this I share with you here we in around practice. So and then it was transmitted to India and then was translated into Chinese, and then it was put into the Tipitaka or the Chinese Tipitaka. So in year 1904, this Dharani also again, due to the donations from the Emperor of Qing dynasty, the Dharani comes back to Penang, right? So kind of like again part of Kedah. So to end my talk is that in summary is that Kedah is not only participate in the regional communication peers pan-Asia through Ye Dharma and Bodhigarbha Ankara Laksha Dharani, but it also connected to a regional network. For example, the Ajana Chiyate Karmaverse. And not only that, they are also kind of like innovative on their own. They are not just a passive receiver or whatever they have, they just receive it, but they also use their innovation and intellectual capabilities to select these 3 verses, the Sagaramati Pariprecha, and put it into a ritual practice, right? For example, entering it into a stew. Okay, hopefully I don't take too much time. Thank you very much. So do you have any questions?
Amitabha, we are very much grateful to Dr. Ng Jin for this insightful sharing and teachings tonight. So we sincerely hope that we'll have you back with us very soon in the near future for more Dharma sharing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. 所以在这个我们马来西亚这个炎热的天气啊，要做这种考古挖掘还有研究的工作，真的是非常不容易啊！我们祈愿未来所有的学者呢的一切努力都能够顺利的进行，都能够有所收获。那再次的感谢黄永仁博士的分享的内容可能不是我们大家非常熟悉的，但是呢，这同时呢也是和佛教的传播息息相关，非常珍贵的一部分。所以我们希望在不久的将来因缘具足，能够再次的邀请到黄永仁博士来上线为我们做分享。
गते गते